Detained in North Korea 17 months ago, released last week.
It's a total disgrace what happened to Otto.
Just yesterday, his family announced his death.
That should never, ever be allowed to happen.
Now, many wonder, why would anyone want to travel to North Korea? And Austinite shares her travel story.
Plus, they were accused of abusing children and performing satanic rituals. Fast forward 25 years, and Dan and Fran Keller are now officially innocent.
And summer heat brings travel concerns. What you need to know before hitting the road.
This is KVUE News at 6.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Rush.
And I'm Quita Culpepper. New tonight, family members of Otto Warmbier have made plans for his funeral later this week.
The 22-year-old died yesterday after coming home in a coma from North Korea last week. He was imprisoned in the country for more than a year for allegedly trying to steal a propaganda poster. Autopsy results are expected tomorrow, but today the Trump administration is considering banning all Americans from traveling to North Korea.
KVUE's Christy Millward is live in our newsroom. And Christy, you spoke with someone who's actually been to the communist country.
Well, Mike and Quita, when hearing stories like this, many wonder why even risk traveling to a country like North Korea. But one Austinite tells me she went and it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But she also feels what happened to Warmbier could have happened to anyone. Grace Fletcher loves to travel. She even spent a few years teaching in China.
The last year I was there, my friend said, hey, they're running a race in North Korea. Would you like to go? I'm like, okay, yeah.
A rare chance to see the mysterious country.
I was like, when else am I going to have this opportunity to travel to North Korea?
But before the trip even started, she says they got a list of warnings.
Do not talk about North Korea in any disrespectful manner. Make sure that you're not bringing up any politics. Just go and observe. Really be there as a tourist.
Fletcher made sure to follow all the rules.
Even though you have a hotel room to go back to, you still kind of are a little hesitant to actually speak openly because you really do not know who is listening.
She says they ran along city streets and into a stadium lined with North Koreans. It was 5 days of positive words about the country.
It's a lot of your tour guide speaking very positively about Kim Jong-un and Kim Jong-il and how strong and confident, you know, the soldiers are and how great it is to be here and to be part of a beautiful country as North Korea.
For most of the trip, Fletcher says they weren't allowed to take photos until they got to the U.S. ship captured during the Korean War.
It was scary to see how much of, like, satisfaction and how they're beaming over this fact of these are your soldiers' garments. We took over that ship.
Despite those fears, she thinks a travel ban will only encourage people to find a way to see it for themselves.
I feel that if people want to visit, they're going to visit.
A visit she's thankful she got to take and come home from safely. Now, Warmbier was studying abroad in China when he took that trip to North Korea. We spoke to several universities in our area about their study abroad protocol. UT tells us they have 3,000 students in 80 countries each year, but they also have a list of restricted regions. The highest alert level is on countries like Afghanistan and Syria. North Korea's risk level is the third highest. Southwestern, UT, and Texas State say safety is their #1 priority for students. Live in the newsroom, Christy Millward, KVUE News.
Thanks, Christy. We are in the Storm Center now with Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon, keeping track of a couple of things, not only the heat that we are going to be dealing with for several months, but also Tropical Storm Cindy's out there.
Yeah, as of early this afternoon, the hurricane hunters found that closed area of circulation, found winds at or above tropical storm strength, so it was named Cindy this afternoon. Still, though, a very disorganized system. Here's a look at Max Storm radar and satellite, and there you see over the central Gulf of Mexico a stationary Cindy, but displaced from the center of circulation is much of the cloud and rainfall. So this is still pretty disorganized. It may get its act together a little bit more, but stay well below hurricane strength. It looks like this will be impacting the upper Texas coast, maybe around Port Arthur, maybe near Galveston Bay, maybe even southwestern areas of Louisiana. That's all in the cone of uncertainty by Thursday morning. For us, some of the outer rain bands could impact our eastern counties on Thursday. Nothing all that heavy, but I'll break down those rain percentages starting for tomorrow night into Thursday. Who has the best chance of seeing some showers associated with Cindy here in central Texas? That's coming up.
All right, thanks, Albert. The final outcome today for one of Austin's most notorious court sagas.
Travis County DA Margaret Moore filed court documents declaring Dan and Fran Keller innocent in a 1992 sexual abuse case in which they were accused of carrying out satanic rituals on children at their daycare.
Hope that this puts the matter to rest for them and in fact for everyone involved in this case. It's been I think a painful saga for many people. This has been going on for 26 years now, and I think it's time to move on. I hope this allows that.
The Kellers served 22 years in prison. They were released on bond in 2013 after a doctor recanted his testimony that helped build the case against them. The state's highest criminal court overturned their conviction in 2015, but the charges against the Kellers had lingered until today. A 10-month-old boy in critical condition.
Taylor police, CPS, and doctors all trying to determine whether he was injured or has a medical condition. KVUE's Amber Downing is in the newsroom, and Amber, adding to all of this happened at an illegal daycare.
Mike Quita, that is right. A Taylor police report lists a woman as a suspect, but they are still trying to figure out whether she'll be charged with first-degree felony assault of a child. That all depends whether medical staff say the 10-month-old baby was injured or has a medical condition. Child Protective Services says a woman was running an illegal daycare out of her apartment on Sloan Street in Taylor. An ambulance was called to the daycare Thursday, June 15th, because the child was having difficulty breathing. Now, the next day, child care licensing shut it down. DFPS spokesperson Lisa Block tells KVUE they're not releasing the number of children being watched at the apartment because it is part of that investigation. According to Taylor police, the child is still at Dell Children's Medical Center in critical condition. Now, the state puts types of child care in seven different categories. 3 apply to home child care, and those are listed as listed family home, which is defined as a caregiver who provides care in-home for money for 3 or fewer children 13 years or younger who are not related to that caregiver. Now, a registered family home, another version, that's a caregiver who provides in-home care to 4 to 6 kids 13 years old or younger. That's before and also before or after school care can be provided for an extra 6 kids. So a maximum of 12 kids in the house, including ones related to the caregiver. So a third kind of at-home, group daycare home. This is the only type that requires a license, and this is an operation that provides care for 7 to 12 kids 13 years or younger. The Department of Family and Protective Services has a site where you can check if your child care is licensed or registered. We've got that link at KVUE.com. In the newsroom, Amber Downing, KVUE News.
Thanks, Amber. We are learning more tonight about what police are calling a horrific crime, the sexual assault, robbery, and kidnapping of a group of women visiting Austin. It started late Friday when investigators say the 5 women under the age of 30 staying at a motel off of I-35 left the room to pick up drugs from a man they met at a gas station days earlier. The women went to an apartment complex where 2 of them were allegedly zip-tied and sexually assaulted. Police did not provide details about the attacks on the other 2 women in the group. One of the suspects then told one of the women to drive them back to their motel, where she broke away and called 911. Tonight, Chief Brian Manley is calling the women not victims, but survivors.
They got through that encounter, and they had the wherewithal to get in touch with the police and to give us enough information and detailed information to allow us to be in the position that we're in today.
20-year-old Emmanuel Greer, who met the women at the gas station, is still on the run. 19-year-old Christopher Jaramillo and 23-year-old Dimitri Rogers are under arrest. The 4th suspect is described as a short Hispanic man. Charges against the men include aggravated battery, aggravated sexual assault, and aggravated kidnapping. If you have any information, call 911.
Uber is finally adding a feature to its app that allows you to tip your driver. The company has been under fire lately because of complaints that drivers were not being treated fairly and concerns about its corporate culture. Besides the tipping option, Uber is giving drivers an opportunity to make more money when passengers keep them waiting or don't cancel rides within 2 minutes. It's the first steps in what Uber is billing as 180 days of change for its U.S. drivers.
A lot of drivers would speak up, but we didn't feel like we were really being heard. Changes would be made, and then we'd speak up again, and other changes would be made, but not really relative to what we were asking most of the time.
The tipping feature debuts today in Seattle, Minneapolis, and Houston. It's expected to be available in the rest of the country by the end of July.